Generic prescriptions that were dispensed by mail order pharmacies were marked up on average 3 times higher than those filled at brick and mortar pharmacies.
Did you know that the mail order pharmacy boom may be hiding a dark secret?
America's mail order pharmacy boom, I think, is hiding some dark secrets from the public. But I think pharmacists are well aware that the convenience that mail order provides is coming at a cost that people are now starting to see the light of. Because this trend is quietly driving up prices and endangering the very medications that your patients are relying on. I want to expose the truth about mail order pharmacies because the soaring costs and the dangerous mishaps need to be talked about in an open way. And it may even impact how you see your mail order pharmacy. Let's start by taking a look back at the explosive growth of mail order pharmacy sector. It's a trend that's reshaping just how Americans get their medications. I remember when I was a little boy, and I remember thinking about mail order like, that seems really weird. I remember graduating pharmacy school and being like, that it doesn't seem right. Like, I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but I just remember thinking that doesn't seem safe. But since then, the numbers have been staggering. Just in a decade, mail order drug sales have skyrocketed from 86 billion to over 206 billion. That's a seismic shift on how prescriptions are being filled in America. But to put that in perspective, that's more than 140% increase in sales. But here's the interesting thing, and it's a little bit puzzling too, is that while sales have more than doubled, the number of prescriptions filled by mail order pharmacy has only increased by 11%. So it's not that mail order prescriptions have doubled. Something is going on, and it raises important questions like, are mail order drugs becoming more expensive? Or are people ordering higher cost medications maybe through the mail? Or is there something else going on behind the scenes? You know, a significant driver of this boom has been the push from pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs. For those of you who may not be very familiar, PBMs are basically the middlemen in pharmacy world. They manage prescription drug benefits for healthcare insurers, for Medicare Part D plans, for large employers, and companies like Express Scripts, CVS Caremark, Optum Rx. They dominate this space. Those are the big three and cover like 80-90% of the market. Many PBMs have been actively encouraging patients to use mail order pharmacies, often through financial incentives, making it the only option for patients to get their prescriptions through. PBMs argue that mail order pharmacies provide a better price because of the scale and the efficiency of it all. Plus, they say it's more convenient for patients. It makes sense. You know, you got your diabetes, you got your heart condition, you got your cancer, whatever it is that is a prolonged disease. It's so much easier to have it directly given to you at your home than having to go all the way into a pharmacy. I bought a treadmill a year ago. It was super nice that it was just delivered right to my front door. I didn't have to go to the store to get it. It's on the surface, it sounds nice. Lower costs, prescriptions delivered right to your door. Who doesn't want that? But the reality is more complicated. We need to dive into the cost associated with mail order prescriptions. This is where things kind of take unexpected turns because mail order pharmacies are supposed to be cost-saving solutions. The pitch was simple. By operating at a larger scale, cutting out the overhead, right, of the physical stores, these pharmacies could offer medications at lower prices. It was supposed to be a win-win, but here's the reality check. In many cases, mail order prescriptions are actually driving up costs. Let's take a couple of real world examples that might make you do a double take. Unity Care, which is a nonprofit health clinic in Washington state, is facing a 25% increase in their drug benefit costs this year. Okay, we're not talking over a couple years. It's 1 year. The culprit? it's largely mail order prescriptions. This isn't an isolated incident either. We're seeing similar patterns across the country. Let's do a concrete example that really drives this point home, okay? So a generic antidepressant can typically cost around $12 at a retail pharmacy that was billed at about $100 through a mail order service. That's an 800% markup. That kind of price difference would make you think like Pedro Pascal is opening up the bottle and kissing everyone. And while that would help me with my depression, it's probably not worth it. And I'm sorry, Pedro, I'll never betray you. You're amazing. I'm sorry, I take it all back. So what's going on here? A big part of the answer lies in something called the spread. The spread is the difference between what a PBM charges a health plan for a drug and what it reimburses the pharmacy for that same drug. The PBM pockets that difference. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier that many PBMs own mail order pharmacies? That detail becomes so important here because when a PBM owns a mail order pharmacy, they can essentially sell the drug to themselves for whatever price they so choose. That's like being both the player and the referee in the game. You get to make the rules work for you in your favor. A recent analysis found some very eye-opening numbers. Generic prescriptions that were dispensed by mail order pharmacies were marked up on average 3 times higher than those filled at brick and mortar pharmacies. For brand name drugs, the markup was even more dramatic, up to 35 times higher in some cases. This practice isn't just affecting individual patients, it's having an impact on employers and its health plans, and it's just becoming too much. A friend of mine who is an academic told me that she was considering going on her husband's startup health plan because her established academic institution, their health plan was just becoming worse and worse. So many businesses are seeing their prescription drug costs skyrocketing, and they're being told, oh, mail order is going to save them a quick buck. This lack of transparency in this market, it's just making it incredibly difficult for employers, health plans, and patients to understand what is the cost and what's going on here. Many businesses can't even see how much PBMs are marking up these drug costs. It's like going to your grocery store and just putting on blindfold and hoping you're going to get what you want. Now, there's another aspect to this that people need to know about, and it's going to shift the conversation totally. The other issue here is about temperature control during medication shipping. And I know what you're thinking, oh my gosh, my favorite subject. I freaking love the logistics and temperature control. Alex, please dive into it. Look, you probably have never thought at all about how warm it is in your house and if it's spoiling your medicines. But most of us in the pharmacy world know that you need to store your medications at a certain temperature. Most meds need to be stored between 68 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit to maintain their effectiveness. That's a narrow range. You may have heard pharmacists say don't store your medicine in the bathroom because if you're like me, you like to get a little steamy in there. You like it a little warm. Okay, nothing feels better than a warm shower on a bad day. But the problem is it gets too humid, and that humidity can raise the temperature and it can cause damage to your medicine, making it ineffective. Now let's say that you're getting your mail order pharmacy from some facility in, I don't know, Las Vegas or LA. That medicine has to go from one facility to another. And I don't know if you've ever been to those places on the planet, but they're hot. They can get nasty, okay? And your medicine, it's not going to survive. Extreme temperatures can have serious effects on medicines, making them practically useless. Heat can cause chemicals to break down, and on the flip side of that, if your medicine gets too cold, chemicals can crystallize together and just completely break down. And the unfortunate part is, you won't know. You'll get your medicine in the mail and you'll look at it and it'll look fine to the naked eye. So this could mean that if you're getting mail order pharmacy drugs, they may not even be working and people don't even know it. If you live in a place of extreme weather conditions, I can't speak to the validity of how good your medicine is. A study published in the Journal of American Pharmacists Association found alarming results that no one's really talking about. They tracked the temperature of medicines packaged during shipping and found that medicines stayed within a safe range about a third of the time. Let that sink in. 2/3 of the time, mail order pharmacy prescription drugs were being potentially exposed to harmful conditions, thus making them completely useless. And PBMs are charging for that. Given these risks, you can assume that there's strict regulations, right? No, not at all. There aren't any to my knowledge. Federal law doesn't require temperature monitoring devices at all in medication shipments. Some advocates are pushing for that kind of change, arguing that temperature trackers need to be in every package. This could allow recipients to have the actual trust that their medicine is helping them instead of just being useless or potentially even harmful. But without legal requirements, this is being slow and sporadic in implementation. I mean, it's happening maybe in some places, but not at all. If it's happening at your mail order pharmacy, please put it in the comments below. I would love to elevate some people who are being innovative in that space. This lack of monitoring creates a significant gap in our ability to just ensure you're getting the right therapy. And I can guarantee you that no doctor is even considering this. No doctor is thinking in their head, they were taking this medicine for a long time and then all of a sudden it stopped working. They're probably not thinking in their head, I wonder if the medicine was delivered via mail order and it had to go through the desert or the mountains to get to them. This is a challenge that really no one is trying to address adequately. There is some proposals and some legislation. I'll put some links below in the description for some bills that you can advocate for as a patient, technician, pharmacist, or heck, if you're just a really awesome person checking out a pharmacist talking about this problem. Well, whoever you are, something needs to be done about it. So how about you? Are you at a mail order pharmacy or maybe you're at a PBM? What's your company doing about it? We need to have a larger discussion as a profession, because if we don't start talking more about this, patients are going to get hurt. And not only are patients maybe getting hurt because they're not getting any medicine practically, but on top of that, we're overcharging for something that's ridiculous. It is so silly that they're getting away with overcharging for this. And by the way, if you're interested at all in job hunting, seeking fun employment in pharmacy, or honestly just finding a career that you actually want to wake up to, I would encourage you to check out our workshop. It's called Offer in 6. I do it every week live with a small group of pharmacists to help them understand what they're doing probably wrong about job seeking and what are some different plans, behaviors, and strategies to actually help you get a job that you could love doing. So until I see you in the next video, stay curious and take care.